Okay, hello everybody, and welcome back to another GovCon interview. Here with me today is Ali, owner of Tata Express Services. Ali's been a student of mine for over a year, and actually in yesterday's January meetup inside of my flagship course community, I was speaking with Ali, and he was sharing some information about his recent wins, some recent progress, as well as some of the challenges and things that he's had to overcome. And so Ali agreed to come on an interview to inspire and educate other people that are in the community, maybe just starting out, brand new. And so with that being said, and without further ado, Ali, welcome and thanks for being here today, man.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Derek. Thank you for inviting me. It's a privilege to be on this platform with you. So I'm grateful. Thank you very much.
Awesome, man. I'm so happy that you could be here today. So just to get kicked off, could you just share a little bit about your journey into government contracting and what inspired you to get into GovCon from the get-go? And I think it was it was over a year ago. Was it like a
No,
year and a half?
I think I told you yesterday it was over a year, but I think we started February last year.
Okay.
So almost a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what actually inspired me it was that I was at a point in my life that I needed clarity on the next step. Where do I go? And I seen a lot of people out there, advertising and government contracts services. And so some people were good at selling it as though it was like, quick money grab and kind of stuff like that. So me with my EJE, I listened to them. But there was just, for other people, there was just something that was missing, It was more of like, give me your money and, yeah. So I was like a little bit hesitating because during that time I had limited resources already, and sometimes the fare or the fees that they were charging, it was so exorbitant that I couldn't even afford. So I was just going through YouTube and I saw your video, and the way you presented the information, it kind of resonated well with me. It was like the truth telling, how passionate you were for us to succeed. These were some of the missing act and the factor that I was looking for initially, but I didn't see in other people. That's how I decided to give you a try. And since I gave you a try, I mean, it's been good for me. I have won 3 contracts so far.
Oh, that's fantastic, man. You want to talk about? We talked about it a little bit today, or yesterday rather, in the call. But
Yeah.
You ended up winning contracts that you didn't necessarily think you were going to when you first got started.
Yeah.
And this is something I talk a lot about. But you kind of left yourself open to consideration. I call it the umbrella strategy, as you know. But could you just talk a little bit about how that was for you? Because it's very counterintuitive when you're first starting out, and it's not necessarily everybody's journey.
Yeah.
But it did end up being yours, and it is many others.
Yeah. So actually, well, doing back in the days, I had a box truck, and I was so kind of frustrated with how I was giving it up to drivers. They were going around, and it was kind of taking away money from me instead of bringing money to me. And I was so frustrated. So I heard somebody saying, but you can rent your truck to government. Government can take it for 2-3 months or so, and they're gonna pay you. That's a show money. So I decided to do it, but I didn't know how to do it. And that was what I was looking to actually do. Come into government contracting and give my bus truck to the government, and so I can get revenue from that. But it didn't work up. When I came to your class, you encouraged her. I mean, initially when you were saying it's good that you have an umbrella, that umbrella strategy, I was like, I don't want to do anything else. I just want to focus on this bus truck because it was actually kicking my butt. So I just wanted to find a way to get rid of it, by giving it to, yeah. So that was my main focus. That was the priority. But again, I'm like, okay, he's the man. Let me just listen to him. And so that's how I created an umbrella strategy. My background is in project management, so I understand a little bit of contracts, agreements, implementation of contracts. So as I'm like, it wouldn't help me. I mean, I've done some of these things, especially when it comes to construction. I know the ins and out a little bit about this. So I mean, that's just in my area, so I can still just add this thing. But actually, I'm still going to focus on seeing how best I can get transportation logistic contract.
Sure.
Yes, so that was it.
And then what was the first contract that you ended up landing last year? What was the scope or the industry, if you will, for that?
Okay, it was a HVAC contract.
HVAC.
And I got that contract in Alabama to replace HVAC for USDA.
So what made you open to that? Because that's so different from, leasing out your box truck. How did you decide on that, or how did you consider that?
Yeah, initially one, desperation, and two,
Okay, that's always good.
yeah, I was desperate just to succeed. And again, and when I paid that money to you, I'm like, I just got to get my money back one way or the other. That was my
Fair.
that was my initial, even though it's now a huge sum of money, but where it was coming from at that time, it was very much. I tried to negotiate with your partner to see how best I could. She was
She's
like,
not the one to negotiate with.
Yeah.
I'm softer than she is.
yeah, she's like, no, you can't do it. So imagine how low I was, even with that amount that you were charging. I was still trying to negotiate. She was like, no, we cannot, So I happened to, just give it all, So that was my first intention. You pay this money, you're gonna get it back one way or the other. And two, like I said, my background is in project management. I do construction management, and I worked for a government contractor before as as a construction manager, but I didn't really understand what he was doing from the aspect of solicitation and everything. I was just implementing the contract. Yeah. So when we came to the class, I'm like, but this is something I already did before. Like I work at a veteran hospital over here, and we were doing we were building a CHP plan for the VA in Georgia, in Decatur over here. And I was one of the contract manager on that project. So I'm like, this is something I've already done, and I understand how to, especially when it comes to the implementation of the project. But even though I don't know how to, acquire the project, go for solicitation and stuff, but Derek had already shown me that missing piece. So I'm just going to do it. When I get a contract, I know how to manage the contract. And even if I don't know how to manage the contract initially, I'm going to call Derek one way or the other. And by the way, when I started initially, I was emailing for information, and your partner was very helpful. She was giving me the right information, even to, give the subcontractor a contract. I'm like, where is it? She said, go to XYZ place in the portal, and this is where. So she was good. So and that's why I really went to the HVAC contract. And when I got that contract, implementing the contract, it was not as hard. Again, it's because of my background. I know project management. So I'm like, okay, this is something that I can do. I like it. And I put the transportation, the logistic a little bit aside, and I focus on the HVAC contract.
So you did something that I highly recommend, and I throw on the concept of low-hanging fruit or personal experience. You were able to use your personal and also your professional experience, although the business was currently set up with the box truck and transportation, freight, etc. You had experience from another life, from another profession, that you said, hey, you know what, this is not what we're currently set up for. But I know I can implement, I know I can deliver. And if Derek can help me fill in the missing piece from the bidding, because you didn't get to be privy of that, right? Because you were on the fulfillment side of things. Then that's something that you could resourcefully pull together using all of your experience that you have. And that is the way to do it. That, guys and gals, is what I tell everybody to do, because we all have something, whether we realize it at first or not, that we can pull from to assist us in getting started in GovCon.
It's just a matter of that drive, that hunger, just to start. When you start, I'm telling you, things will start to fall in place. And even if you don't know, ask questions. Come back to Derek; he's always available. and that's why really helped me, man. Is I'm like every information, and I did it. I was afraid initially doing everything because my thing is, one, I'm from Africa, and this is the government contract. I don't want to go back to Africa, maybe messing or some contract. I'm like, we're gonna deport you, or kind of stuff like that. So I was kind of, yeah, I was kind of afraid, but I'm like, I'm just gonna do it because I was desperate, man. I spent my money and I needed to get this done, and it's a good thing too. It's a good thing to do. If you build all the skills and you build all the portfolio, I'm telling you, what I'm seeing, the future is going to be bright for me and my family.
And I'm going to ask you more about that and a few more questions. But I did want to ask you too, how do you decide what to bid on? I mean, do you have a process? Obviously you're looking at Sam. There's literally anything you could go after on there. What we talk about with the umbrella, it's like the Goldilocks syndrome. The porridge can't be too hot, it can't be too cold. So you have to find a balance of having enough in your umbrella, but not too much. But what has your process been for saying?
My process is the umbrella strategy that you gave. I got three areas that I focus on. I'm focusing on logistics, obviously. I'm focusing on light construction, and I'm focusing on landscaping or facility maintenance. That's my area. I think all three coincide. I mean, logistic is the same, almost similar area, and construction. That's my background, so that's my area. So I'm doing it. Initially, I don't want to do big construction right now because I'm seeing that it takes more to do large construction. And I believe I'm not ready equipped yet, or it's going to take a lot from me to do that. So I'm just looking at light construction right now. And in my initial plan, my plan is to build up the portfolio before I can start spreading out to something bigger. So
I think that's smart. You don't want to grow too fast.
Yeah.
Because you certainly could. And then it can bite you in terms of contract management and contract fulfillment. And you don't want to have it show up on your CPARs or with working with subcontractors, et cetera. You mentioned one of these yesterday. I'm curious to see if there's anything else. If not, we can focus on the one that you mentioned. But what were some of the biggest challenges that you faced when starting in GovCon, and how did you overcome those?
Okay, so one of the biggest, the initial challenge I faced was my accent and trying to get subcontractors to, send me quotation, because if I speak, a lot of time people think that you trying to scam them with African prints and kind of stuff like that.
Dude, I love you.
Yeah, so that was my challenge, man. That I'm telling you, sometimes I would call, I would call people and they would slam the phone in my ear, and you know what helped me most, even though you gave me the tools, but the psychological aspect of it. I remember one day in class, I think it took almost the whole time just to, drive down into us. You were very passionate about it, trying to help us build that mindset, because most time when people come into a new arena, they just think that everything is going to be rosy, or the expectation that they set for the success is going to be so high. So when they meet these challenges or constraints, sometimes they want to draw back and say, no, this is not working. But I'm telling you, that was my initial constraint, to get subcontractors to send me quotes. So gradually I started to practice. What you taught us, I started to practice gradually, and now I'm better with that. I can, try to convince them, because I don't initially, when I used to call, I want to talk a lot, trying to win them over to convince them. But nowadays I just go straight to business, and I'm having success a little bit in that method I'm using.
Yeah, like you've found the power position. You're not trying to overcompensate for a perceived weakness or something that maybe you're self-conscious about. Instead, you're able to stand firm, and then that in turn does get communicated. On the other side of the phone, even though you can't see the person, like they can feel it.
Yes, because the fear too initially, plus my accent. So when I even trying to talk to somebody, I'm like, what the guy is trying to tell me. I mean, I was not convincing. Let me say that I was not convincing because I was still afraid that I'm not what they call it syndrome, man, imposter syndrome. It was kind of stay, messing with me. So I was even afraid to speak to people. So they used to sense in my in my voice that, I mean, this guy don't really know what he's talking about. But after I build up that confidence, when I talk to them, like I'm convincing people who don't, even sometimes who will try to say, oh, I'm working with somebody else. And I'm like, are they going to win the contract? Because I got this on my record. I mean, I work with these people and I stand a better chance to win this contract, So that confidence, how I build that confidence, especially that I won 1 or 2 contracts, I boosted my confidence to a certain level that is reflecting in my articulation or in my conversation with the contractors. So
I hope you guys watching this video are paying attention. Maybe rewind and listen to what Ali just said. It's one of the most valuable things that will be in this entire video. It's one of the biggest things that holds people back. Understandably, when you're doing something for the first time, it can seem overwhelming, intimidating. Imposter syndrome gets the best of us for sure. But that also does not mean that you're not capable of performing and doing it. So it's really our beliefs, and are we believing in ourselves? And at the beginning, you were questioning yourself, and that lack of belief in yourself showed. Yeah. And the way that you believe in yourself now also shows. I can feel it. Guys, just making that transition, it's not all about tips, strategies, templates. A lot of it is just that intangible piece, and I can't say that enough. I'm so glad.
Yeah, sure it is. And it is, because I know you say this is a number of games, but I say this is the rejection games. I call it a rejection game. You got to be rejected. You got, so in how I overcame it, I'm like, I have to make 10 phone calls before I get 1 yes. So I was like doing it for people to reject me in the beginning, just so I can overcome that fear of rejection.
I love that, man.
You understand? Yeah, just so I can overcome that fear of rejection. So I was calling. If it don't reach 10 phone call and you reject me, I mean, I'm still going to call, because that was it. I'm going to call. And even now, people still reject me, but I'm still calling. I only need 1 yes, and that 1 yes will carry me to the next level. And that's that yes I keep searching for. So all the no's don't really matter to me, because I'm searching for my yes.
The difference between the person who wins and the person who loses is that the person who won was rejected more times.
Yes.
The person who wins has actually lost more times than the loser. The loser often gives up too early. And we see a lot of that in this space. People, they want to bid on a few contracts, they gotta give up. Hey, it's always this lowest price. These margins are insane. Just throw in the towel. Let's just, this is supposed to be easy. This is supposed to be get rich quick, right? What you're explaining, many don't want to go through. And I'm cool with that, because I'm sure you're cool with that, because those who make it to the other side have earned it and deserve it. You don't really get lucky in this space. Maybe you'll get lucky on winning your first contract or something like that. But in the long term, it's a reflection of your skill set, your systems, and all these things that you've built. That's what really shows, because it's not an easy industry like any other industry.
Yeah, it's very competitive. It's very competitive. Even with the bid, your process is very competitive in nature. So imagine if the contract is in a particular area, you got more than 10 other prime contractor calling to ask this subcontractor for a quotation. So imagine that alone, to get quotation from these people. That's the first competition. Then you have to submit this bid again. That's another competition. You got to make sure you have all your requirement met in as per the scope that they are requesting. You got to make sure everything is done. And so, I mean, if you somebody who gets rejected, if you get rejected and you just sit down and say, I'm not going to try again because somebody is telling me no, I don't think you will succeed in this arena, because I call it a rejection game. You're gonna get rejected. So.
When you said you've won 3 contracts thus far, correct?
Yeah.
So especially when you were trying to make the magic happen and get the first contract locked down, how did you stay motivated kind of throughout that rejection and the competition and all of that you described?
So initially, when I started, like I told you, even though I did the training in February or so, uh,
Yeah.
I didn't take it seriously until July. So from February to July, I was just putting in one and not even care what I was. I didn't even know what I was doing. But in July, I'm like, I got to get this right because I mean, I was desperate. I was very desperate. So I started putting in bids. I mean, I gave myself at least every week, gave us putting at least every week, putting three. Then that was just at the low end. Yeah, that was at the low end, Derek. Three every week. Even now, every day, make sure you look for one solicitation every day. That's my method. Now I'm not forcing things, if it's not right, it's not for me. But at least if it's good, I have to get that, and I have to make the move on whatever solicitation. So you got to get a system. You got to say you want it, and you got to keep trying for it. So I put in bids, and there was one time I put in a bid, and they emailed me back and they asked me to confirm my pricing. Now, here is a key lesson in this business that I have learned in a short period of time. You cannot be greedy in this business and succeed. It's not a get quick. I mean, it's not a get quick. So after I submitted, I believe that I was in line to win. They just wanted to confirm my pricing. But when they sent me back that email to confirm my pricing, I went and added more to my pricing and I submitted it. So I didn't win that bid, obviously, because instead of just confirming and say, oh, this is it, I decided, oh, I'm the favorite, so I'm going to add, additional amount to it. So yeah, yes, yes. So I missed that, but I learned from that too. I mean, again, there are a lot of lessons learned along the way that you're going to acquire. Hey, it's going to be good. I mean, we can tell everybody all these things that we're saying, but sometimes you're going to learn it from yourself. You're going to learn it the hard way. We hope, I mean, there we hope that you don't have to learn the hard way, but most often we try to do it, so we can learn the hard way. So based on that, I learned my lesson. I started being a little bit conservative with my pricing, because my goal now was just to win my first bid. So instead of just going large on my margin, I'm like, let me just bring it to a amount that I can do this contract and still get a profit from this contract.
Yeah.
But I'm building the resume, and that is the biggest reward, I think, in the initial phase of the GovCon area. So that's what I did, and I won that first contract from in Alabama. And now, the other lessons I learned, you really got to be careful with your subcontractors. I think you mentioned it before, but again, I think
we can't say it enough, right?
Yeah, yeah, you really got to be careful with your subcontractor. On that contract, I could have made a lot of money on that contract. But the first mistake I made on that contract, I did an email where I CC my contractor and I CC the client, the government on it. So my contractor had access to the communication. So I was requesting for additional amount because there was let's say a scope change, and I was requesting for additional amount. But my subcontractor just came out and said, it's not a problem, we can do it. So instead of me getting money for work that they were going to do anyway, but because the scope change necessarily, there was change in scope. So I actually, it was well deserving that once there's a change in scope, there is a change in cost. But because my contractor had access to that email, the subcontractor is going to do it for nothing. So we miss money on it. And in the back now, when the subcontractor had already agreed, they didn't even know the cost associated with what they were agreeing to. So they went and did their own pricing for the additional material and kind of stuff. It cost them up to $5,000, and they came back to me and said, oh, this was not part of the scope. And I'm like, I got an email communication. I told them to pay us for this contract, for this work, and you said you could do it, so it's on you. So you really got to be careful. Don't miss the communication with your sub and your client. Try to keep them away. Anything that goes on in the contracting arena, let the client speak directly to you if the subcontractor have an issue or some question or concern, that the subcontractor come to you and you go directly to the client, or else there's gonna be confusion.
That's exactly right.
Hmm.
Ali, is it just you making it rain and doing, I shouldn't say making it rain, but all this effort you're putting
Making
in,
it
is it
drip, making it drip.
making it drip? Yeah. Yeah, but I was saying that in reference to when you were saying you're looking at bids every single day, you're trying to do, a bid a week. Is it just you? Do you have a spouse, business partner? What does your setup look like?
Yeah, I have a spouse, and it's just me. So initially, when I started, I used to work from home, and so I had access when I'm not on meeting and stuff. But again, there's a routine that you can set. In the evening, you come after work, you can look at what you want to do and just line everything up. So the next day, all you have to do is just call your subcontractors. It will give you extra time because you already seen the solicitation that you are interested in. You already got it locked down. You already finished doing your own personal request for code. Because I like to do the breakdown when I read the solicitation, just take out the meat from there and do my own kind of RFQ and send it up to my subcontractor. So I will get everything set up just like that in the evening. So in the morning when I call any contractor, all I need to do is just email them exactly what we're talking about. But I got to set up everything on my laptop. I'm using Excel to log my information. I call it my subcontractor list. I got it right on my sheet. So if I talk to Derek and Derek agree, that he's going to send me the code, I put his company name, I put the contact, I put the email address, and I put a comment in front of it. Oh, Derek say that Monday he's going to send me the code, just to keep me reminded. So when I go in over here, I can look after during the week or anytime I got time to review. I just go over and say, okay, this is it.
Got it. So through your own productivity systems you've set up, planning your day ahead of time, lining up communication with the subs, looking at solicitations every day, planning out your bids, you're able to be highly efficient and productive as a solo team, if you will.
Yes, I am. Now, sometimes it become overwhelming, sometimes like depending on my day, sometimes I don't have the drive to even look at it. But if I'm doing 5 in a week and I'm do 3 in a week, I mean, it's not bad. So, the bar is like 5. And that's just every day that just one. Every day that's one. So, I mean, anybody can do 1 a day. You can do, so it's just one. It just sound 5 just sound like it's a lot. But sometimes again, when it's there and I'm seeing a lot of bid I'm interested, I do more than 5. And I'm not saying I'm responding to the solicitation.
Right. Yeah. I was going to clarify. Yep.
Yeah, I'm not responding, but I'm just asking for RFQ. Like I seen a project in Missouri, and I just did the necessary thing, did my RFQ, contacted 3. I tried to do 3 subcontractors at the least. Contacted 3 subcontractors and asked them if they were interested. Send them the email, and I will follow up with them later on.
Got it. So, what does the future look like? What plans do you have? Do you plan to expand? I know you talked a little bit about construction at, more heavy construction at the time once you're ready. But what's 2025 looking like for you in terms of your ambitions and coming off of these wins?
Yeah. So 2025, my goal is to. I know it sounds a lot, but I'm just thinking big, and I'm already started. I got 1 already. I'm trying to win 10 contracts this year, so it's 1 a month. I have a contract from last year that is like that was postponed due to the client not having the material ready. So I've already got 2 this year, but I'm looking to get 10. So, and I'm looking also to get multi-year contract. That's my main goal, to get multi-year contract, because what I'm doing right now is one and done.
Mm-hmm.
HVAC replacement, you go there and replace it one time. Yep. Unless again another bit before you go. But I'm looking to get a multi-year contract. And I'm looking this year to go full swing, and next year then I can start, trying to do bigger contracts and kind of stuff. But this year I want to build up my reputation, because even I tried with a contract, a large construction in Alaska. I don't know what I was thinking about. Yeah, because it's I was going to, working with some guys, and again you got to be careful with the contract, these subcontractors, man, because sometimes they are interested in the contract, they themselves want to do it, they won't tell you. You give them all the information, and they going to. Did I tell you about the other contract that the subcontractor double crossed me on? I think I told you about it.
Maybe it was a while back.
Yeah, that was one contract, and the subcontractor won the contract anyways.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I think I told you. Yeah, they wanted. They didn't tell me that they were going for the contract. So I gave them all the information. They didn't even know about the contract. I provided all the information. When they did it, they sent me the RF. They sent me the quote. But what they did, and I started to notice it at the end, instead of the deadline for the submission of the code to me, they didn't do that. They will always push it. Oh, we'll get it to you tomorrow. So usually what I do, I at least give them 3 days before the actual submission date for them to submit to me, so I can review it and put all my documentation together. So that 3 days too will allow me to, just in case they are not submitting it, then maybe I can go to subcontractor number 2, or kind of just to, work things out,
Exactly.
So they were kind of pushing it. They submitted it to me the last day, I think 2 hours to the submission time. And what they did, they inflated the price, and they kind of went with the actual price at which they want. I was kind of pissed off because they could have told me that, they could have told
me. They're making you look a certain way to contracting as well, with your pricing being overly inflated.
Yes.
But you should also be getting multiple quotes too.
Yeah. I usually get multiple quotes. I usually get multiple quotes. But some quotes, like I look at the high, the low, and look at the actual performance of the person and see if they can deliver. Because I just don't want to pick somebody because of the low amount. That will not serve me, right? And that will not serve my client well. I always want to perform. I want to do my job. I'm very careful with that because, like I said, I don't project management and contracting. And I know how it can be when the client expect delivery on a certain time and you cannot deliver according to expectation. So I'm always careful. So, like I say, in the initial stage, I'm making money a little bit, but I'm not all about the money. I'm trying to get it right first. Then later on, I will start going for the big, contracts.
And that's why it's a long-term play, not a short-term play.
Yeah.
Final question for you. What do you hope others take away from your story of success in federal government contracting? What key takeaways? Anybody that's listening, they're feeling the imposter syndrome. They're afraid to pick up the phone to call subs. Maybe they've been sitting on this for a year and they haven't even actually bid on their first contract. Anything like that. What could you tell them to help them cross that finish line with getting started?
Well, first thing, the solicitation or the response will not do itself. Somebody got to do it. And if somebody got to do it, you got to do it anyway. So yeah, if you want to win, you just got to play. That's it. If you don't play, you don't win. I mean, plain blank. But the next thing I want to tell you that is work. It's work, because I came in with doubt too. Yeah, Derek, I will be sincere to you. There are a lot of information out there. Somebody can say, like somebody you listen to, some people they say, oh, this person make 300,000 in 3 days. I'm like, how is it possible? Or this person won 400,000 in less than 4 months. They can say even that you won, they say you make. And what I have realized, you're not making it is the contract amount. And that contract amount all not coming to you. You got to buy material, even if it's self-implementing. So they just give you that blanket. They say that illusion that you're going to make a lot of money in the initial state. No, you're not going to do that. So if you have that mentality, if you have that mindset, where I will ask you to revisit and just go gradually. You're going to make money in this thing, but it's a gradual process. 2, you got to do it afraid. You got to do it afraid. I mean, there are a lot of reasons why you would tell yourself. Even sometimes I tell myself, the contract is too big for you. This, and don't do this one, don't do that. But you got to do it afraid. And 3, it works. It works. Everything that Derek is teaching us, it works. Listen to Derek, follow the instruction, be patient. There are times you want to go out of your bulk, out of what Derek is telling you. I'm telling you, Derek, there are certain times, I think I told you during the class time, I had one of my friends, he's a veteran. He was like, let's join our company together so we can get a veteran. And Derek's like, no, don't do it. Because you don't know, you can't just be chasing. Simple. Everything that Derek is teaching you, forget about any other certification or what. Just start gradually. When you win contracts and you want to get all these other things, then it is. But I want all my 3 contracts with my laptop, with my small business, and with my Excel. And I'd use ChatGPT too to do my solicitation. So that one thing somebody got to know too, you got to tap into ChatGPT, to it help you a lot. You got to know how to use ChatGPT so that you can be able to win. But it works, and I can't even believe that I'm a government contractor, Derek. I'm telling you, I'm from Africa. So I'm telling you, I can't believe. That's why when Derek said, come, I owe you a lot, man, Derek. You set me in a position that I'm going to change the life of me and my family. If I stick to this thing, I want to change the life of me and my family. It works. People. Listen to it. Don't put it aside. Don't, even if you're tired, if you say you don't want to, just give it a try. You never know. Just give it a try. Do it, people. It works. I'm telling you, it works. 3 contracts. I've won 3 contracts. I have won 3 contracts. So I'm not telling you. And I don't even know. I'm just new to this space. I don't even know a lot. And sometimes you even be afraid that Derek, I wasted money just because I was trying to get logistic contract. I flew from here to Maryland just to get logistic contract. And you want us. And I didn't listen. Don't do site visit if you're not. Don't go out of state. Don't pay money to do site visit. But I wouldn't hear because I had some free air time or so. I just decided to use it to go to. I went there. I rented a car. I rented a hotel. And guess what? That contract, they didn't even post it again. They canceled the contract after I traveled way to Maryland. So listen to Derek. It's a gradual process. It's not going to come overnight. But listen, learn, taking the information. I still got my book here, Derek. It's right over here. Hey, yeah. Yeah. I still got it right over here. There we go. Yeah. Everything in this book, I mean, if I use it for research also, just to look at stuff. Like, when this is what Derek is talking about, then I'm like, I forgot. I take this, I go to the notes. So everything you're talking, it works. And if people just listen and do what they can do, they want to do, then they're going to win contracts. But it is open. My only concern is that since Trump has taken over and Elon Musk and Doge coming, I don't know how that space is going to be. But that's not my concern. My concern is to do my part, and I believe God will help me. I'm a believer. I'm a Christian.
Yep.
Yeah, I think I sense that with you too. So I'm like,
yeah.
So that's how.
Ali, a man after my own heart, by keeping it real, telling the truth, keeping it raw and real, no fluff, no BS, because that doesn't help anybody. No get rich quick dreams, anything like that. Just sharing the real process of what it's been for you, and even what you plan to do for this year and next year really goes to showcase like the 2 and 3 year process to really get things up to a place where you can fully hang your hat on, expand, etc. But again, it is a process. So Ali, I couldn't thank you even more, man. You're probably one of my favorite interviews. I thank you for sharing everything that you've shared. I know it's going to help to educate and inspire if people actually pay attention to what you're saying in this video. Like I said, guys, rewind it, pause it, take notes, because Ali dropped a number of very, very important lessons. And if you can learn from him and just do it and do things the right way, follow the proper steps, then you can begin making progress as well. And of course, everybody's journey is different, right? But it all starts at the same exact place. So guys, if you are interested in learning more, I will drop a link down below. for the flagship course community that Ali is in. We are still enrolling new small businesses into that if you're interested. If not, just stay tuned to the channel for new interviews, new content. I took some time off this past year off of social media, but the intention is to be back full swing in 2025, guys. So hit that like button and subscribe, share, and we will see you all in the next video. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, Derek. Thank you very much. Guys, subscribe to Derek, man. I'm telling you, he's good. It's going to happen. Subscribe. Thank you, man, Derek. Appreciate you always.